Hey guys, it is finally fresh herb season where all of my perennial herbs are growing back in full force before the big heat gets here. So today we're going to be harvesting 3 of my favorite herbs to make a sleepy time tea. And these herbs are great to grow in any climate. They grow here in the desert just fine, and they are so powerful in putting me to sleep. After harvest, I'll show you how I dry them, and then we'll make a cup of tea, though I will not be going to sleep at 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's get to harvesting. So the first herb we'll be harvesting is probably the most commonly recognizable sedative herb and probably the most popularly used herb for sleep, and that's going to be chamomile. Chamomile is a gorgeous aromatic herb with daisy-like flowers. It is delightfully fragrant, and I can smell it just sitting here right next to it. The flowers are the part of the plant that are traditionally used, and the ideal time to pick them is in the morning, right after they've opened up and after the morning dew has evaporated. You want to pick the flowers that have fully opened up, like little rays of sun, just like this. And it's easy just to pull the flower heads off of the stem as such with your fingers. The plant puts out a bunch of flowers, so it could be a little time consuming to try and snip these off with snippers. And you do want to avoid getting as much of the stem as possible. It's quite difficult, and it's time consuming to also come back and take this extra stem off. But some people have reported that it affects the flavor of the chamomile. I've never noticed it, but for very large flowers I get large stems off of, I just pinch the rest of the stem off like this. These flowers can be used fresh or dried. I prefer to pick my flowers every day and then leave them out to dry because I like to make my tea in bulk. I drink a lot of tea. But you can absolutely pick these flowers and then just use boiling water and make them in tea that day if you like. You also want to pick the flowers regularly so that the plant continues to produce more each day and each week. Chamomile is an antispasmodic, a digestive aid, and at larger doses it's a wonderful sedative. You can use it as a skin wash as well due to its anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. I've never tried it like this, and I do prefer to drink it because it just tastes absolutely lovely. So now that we've harvested our chamomile, let's head on to the next one. This next herb is probably familiar to everyone as a cat's favorite plant, but it is a little known fact that it's a wonderful medicinal herb that works in much of the same way as chamomile. Catnip is an aromatic member of the mint family, and it can grow quite large. Catnip is a perennial herb, and this plant I've had here in this spot in the garden for, I believe, going on its 2nd year now. And I just harvested a bunch of it. It was about 2 feet tall, and I just shaved off the whole top so that these potatoes could get some sunlight. But we'll cut a few stems of this and add it to our sleepy time tea. It acts as a gentle antispasmodic and carminative that can help relieve indigestion, bloating, and gas. It soothes anxiety and is used as a decently powerful sedative to stop sleeplessness. So when you harvest, you can cut whole stems off the plant to dry and then remove the dried leaves afterwards for your teas or tinctures. Now everyone should be familiar with this last herb, which is mint. More specifically, this is peppermint. And though it's not traditionally used as a sleep aid, it is traditionally used as a digestive aid. Now me personally, I tend to eat dinner later at night, more closer to bedtime than not closer to bedtime. So having a tea that tastes good as well as helps with digestion for those late meals before bed is really, really beneficial. Mint is also highly aromatic and flavorful, so it's a great addition to any kind of tea that you want to make, granted you like the taste of mint. And as with the other 2 herbs, you do not want the stems as part of your tea, but as with the other 2 herbs, I tend to dry everything on the whole stem rather than have to pick off the leaves as I harvest the plant. I will add in right here that this is lemon balm, which is a great anxiety reducer and calming agent, although I do not have enough growing just yet to harvest for a tea, and so it's not going to be included in this sleepy time tea recipe that I'm doing today. Alright folks, so we have our chamomile, catnip, and mint, and I'm going to take this inside and show you how I dry it, and then we'll make ourselves a cup of tea. So herbs are pretty delicate, and although a lot of dehydrators can go to the lowest setting, which I believe is about 95 degrees, you still want to avoid heat as much as possible when you're dehydrating your herbs. So I prefer to air dry all of my herbs, which I have a video about, I will link above. But you can either hang them upside down by the stem like this in a drafty place out of direct sunlight. Even this basket, see it's got holes in the bottom, will work. You just want it on a surface that gets airflow underneath as well as over. So what I'm actually using right here is a queen excluder for a beehive, but it makes an excellent dehydrating rack here in my garage where I get airflow but no sunlight all day long. And here's where I'm currently drying chamomile. This is freshly picked from yesterday, and here's some dried mint. I even have just this old piece of chicken wire that I'm drying a bunch of catnip on over my ATV. You guys know me, not fancy. Doesn't have to be fancy, just needs good airflow out of direct sunlight and preferably as little heat as possible. Now obviously that would be poor form if I made you wait a week for all these herbs to dry. So I have some pre-dried herbs and we're gonna go inside and make the tea. So here we have our 3 dried herbs, the chamomile. And again, this is the whole flower that was dried, and you will drink the whole flower just like this. If you see some extra long stems, you can pick them off if you'd like. But like I said, I've never really tasted a difference with a whole bunch of stem. And with the chamomile, I do like to chop it a little. That way the hot water can reach the inside of the flower where all the oils are a bit more. But I don't like it too chopped up because then it doesn't strain very well and I'm drinking chamomile petals. Here's our catnip. And remember, you don't want any of the catnip stem in your tea. So we're just gonna take these leaves off and do a little crushing like that. And last ingredient is the mint, which we are also not using the stem of. So it's pretty easy once the plant is dried to just remove the leaves. It's very, very easy. And here we have our 3 dried herbs, mint, catnip, and chamomile. Now you can chop these up a little bit more, make them finer. It will increase the surface area of water on plant matter. But I tend to get a little lazy with mine and it's never been a problem. So you'll just mix these all together. Like such. And there's your loose leaf tea. Now I use a French press for my loose leaf teas just because we have it. But there are also those little tea balls, or you can buy empty tea bags and fill them and then use them yourself like that. The standard herbalism dosage for a dried leaf tea would be 1 ounce of plant matter to 16 ounces of water. None of these herbs that I use today are toxic at very high doses, although some of them can cause stomach upset, like mint at very high doses, but we're not eating a gallon of mint right now. So I just tend to, probably this amount, this little quarter of a handful I have, I will just throw in my French press here. I don't measure out my tea very strictly when I'm doing this, making it with these ingredients. But if you want it to be exact, for dried teas, it's gonna be 1 ounce of dried plant matter to 16 ounces of hot water. I could make some right now, but then I would be wasting the tea because I'm not gonna drink it right now. And I think y'all catch the drift with pouring hot water over herbs. So I hope you enjoyed this today. This tea absolutely knocks me out. I love it so much. It tastes delicious. It's fine just by itself. I like the taste of mint and chamomile. Catnip is a little similar to mint, but less minty. But it tastes even better if you put a little bit of sweetener in it, like honey or stevia, whatever sweetener you'd like. It is absolutely delicious. And all of these herbs grow great anywhere. Chamomile is the only one you may have a little difficulty with in hotter climates. I know I do, that's why it's in my raised bed under my shade cloth, but it still produces for me all year, and all of these herbs are safe for daily use. That being said, I am not a medical professional. I am not a certified medical practitioner in any sort of way. I don't have any licenses. This is just one homesteader to another. I hope you guys try this and enjoy it. You will absolutely love it. Thanks for joining me today. Catch you on the next one.